What is it, Tuesday night?
Yes.
We're live. We're excited to see you. It's
Been too long.
yeah, we were away last week. We were in Vegas and learning a lot about the industry and what's taking place.
I won't lie. We had a really good time.
We did, and we learned a lot, which is
But I'm
always
kind of
helpful.
glad to be back.
Yeah, how about that?
Oh, yeah.
So today we're going to talk about one of the most valuable tools that you have in your life, and that's your network. Right?
It is. Your network is your most valuable tool.
It's your network is your net worth. We're going to talk about the why, the who, what, where.
Yeah. We have some experiences to share that could be helpful for you the next time you need to do a little networking.
Yeah.
Some people hear networking and they're like, ugh.
Yeah. What do they think it's MLM?
MLM?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We're not talking about network marketing. We're talking about networking. We're talking about building a network, building a community. If it makes you feel a little bit better about it, it's building your community.
And not just your business community.
It's not just about work. It's not just about your career. It can also be in support of your family, in support of your friends. Yeah.
So, and who are we to talk about building a network? I know Ashley started her company before I knew her, and your motto is
learn, share, and grow.
Yes.
Yes, and that's true.
And I connect people, places, and ideas. So I also own the Ultimate Networking Group. It's a company that founded in 2009. We produce in-person business networking events. I also own netmixer.com, which is a networking business or business networking resource that's nationwide. So I know a thing or two about networking. I probably have hosted a lot of events. Let's just say
I don't think too many to count is
in the hundreds. Definitely in the hundreds of business events that I've put together and created. So I know a thing or two about business networking.
You do, but you also know a few things about like not business networking, like just general networking. And I think that that's significant. And boy, the past 2 years, we've learned a lot about how to network virtually.
Virtually. You know, we didn't even talk about that a little bit here.
We should.
So why network? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well, you're curling this sheet and I can't see it. So
your network is your net worth. We already described that.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Repeat that.
Your network is your net worth.
It means the people you surround yourself will determine your net worth. Truly will determine your net worth. You don't see billionaires hanging out with homeless people on a regular basis. They might give a handout or two, and you don't see homeless people hanging out with billionaires. And the reality is
because people hang out with people who are like them.
Yeah.
So if you want to have more money, if you want to have more abundance, if you want to have more of anything, hang out with the people who have those things. And yes, it's not magic. It's the fact
if you're a professional race car driver, you're not hanging out on the tennis courts.
Oh,
right?
I get it. So yeah, if you're an engineer and you're looking to become more successful as an engineer, you should hang out with successful engineers.
So networking expands your community. It's another reason why to network.
I'm a big fan of this because community is important. Maybe it's because I moved a couple of times away from home. So I went to college in a area I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody else I went to school with. So I had to start with a complete clean slate and build a network of people in the Philadelphia area from where I grew up from. And so I guess in the process of doing that, I realized like I needed to establish my own community. And then I did it again when I moved to Boston in the early 90s. And I didn't know anybody. So I had to start building a network or a community so that because I knew that there were things that I just wasn't going to know about, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why I did that.
Another reason to network it multiplies your message. So if you go to a networking event or your network knows what you do, if you're a lawyer and everybody knows you're a lawyer, you're a divorce lawyer and everybody knows you're a divorce lawyer, any of your friends, family, and relative, if you're good and honest and not sleazy.
Ethical.
Ethical. My friend, my friend Bob. My friend Bob's a divorce lawyer. Patrick is a divorce lawyer. We know. Yeah.
And if I heard that somebody was about to go through a divorce, I would send them to Patrick.
So, and Patrick doesn't pay us to do that. In fact, we pay Patrick, but plumber.
It's because I like Patrick, right?
Plumber. Somebody.
I know a good electrician. I know a great teacher, a great tutor for math who's been terrific. Like just anything, right? You become a resource.
And the same reason for you yourself when you tell people what you do, who you are. Like I'm Gus, the events guy. People know me as the events guy. They come to me for advice on events. And friends of theirs say, "Hey, you should go talk to Gus about that. You go for an event, you should go talk to Gus about that." So
you become known.
You become known, and they can't follow you if they don't know you. So
it's so true.
Anyway,
now, are we talking about the menu?
Yes.
Is it time to talk about it? So I find that the more I network with people and the more I learn about people, the more I realize what's out there, like what types of jobs there are, different kinds of medicine that exist, just different options. You get a much bigger idea of what's happening out in the world by talking to people and finding out what they do. So it's not necessarily about you trying to sell them something. It's about you learning about them and what's out there. And the more you do that, the bigger your universe becomes and the more that you are in a position to see what options are out there. And I just think that that's really important because we can get really closed off really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, and your network will help you find. It can help you find your next job, your next career, your next thing. I mean, I am not.
And your next spouse.
Yeah, I worked. I don't. Many of you don't know. I did work for corporate America at one point.
As did
I. At a certain point, the last 10 years, I think I had 3 jobs in the last 10 years. I worked in corporate America. All those jobs were through my network. I didn't have to produce a resume. I didn't have to do anything other than show up and go through the formal paperwork. It was because I was recommended by my network to the next person, the next job, or the person in that job knew who I was through the network I had. So, and most people who become seasoned in their careers find that to be true. Not realizing it's your network, but it is. Your network can help you do that.
You're right. And if you don't have that network, people don't know. People don't know to send them your way. Or, hey, I know somebody who's looking for somebody who does what you do. Let's connect the two. If they don't know you, they can't do that.
My network now, I mean, this is another thing, networking or your network will bring you opportunities. It can bring you, I get pitched business opportunities on a weekly basis. I turn just about all of them down. But every once in a while, somebody comes up and says, dude, we got this deal. You want in? And I'm like, I'm in.
Think about
I'm in on that. I'm in on that. I'm in the process of looking for new businesses to acquire. So if you know anybody, I'm reaching out to my network right now. If you know anybody who's got a business they want to sell or maybe retire from, have them reach out to me. I mean, there's an ask for my network right there. So yeah.
Cool.
What else? We got? Networking can solve problems. Simple problems. Where can I get my kid's haircut? I know one problem you can't solve with your network. It's very hard.
What?
Babysitters.
Oh man, nobody wants to.
Nobody gives up their babysitters.
Let me give a quick story about this. So actually, when I moved back to Philadelphia after having lived in Boston for years, my life was a little different. I had a husband, I had a small child. So I needed to establish all of our life services in the local area. And I had other than a couple of things, I really had no idea how to or what services to use. So I actually put a survey together. This is kind of crazy. And I put it in all I know. I had my kids were established. My daughter was established at a preschool, and I actually put it in all the mailboxes and just hoped I would get some responses. But it was things like, babysitter, haircut, dentistry, pediatric dentistry. Like I needed all of these services for us in our new household. And this was the fastest way that I knew to ask for it. And I know it was a little weird. But then I was able to go back and connect with some of those people more in person to say, hey, thanks for the recommendation on the dentist. We're really happy with, Dr. Lieberman. So who's great, by the way, he's in Bryn Mawr. But yeah, so that's what I did. And I didn't use every service, but I got a chance to at least try some stuff out that I would have never known. It shortened that learning curve.
Yeah.
Quick.
And your network can also help you solve your business problem. If you're a business owner, I mean, a few months ago, I felt overwhelmed, out of control, and was unable to. I felt like I couldn't get anything done that needed to be done because there's just so much that needed to be done. And I talked to somebody in my network, and I was not talking to that person about. I was just like, dude, things are rough right now. Like I can't breathe. And he's like, do you know what I do? He said, why don't we talk a little bit and see what I can take off your plate? And sure enough, he did. He took a bunch of work off my plate, freed up a ton of my. It was a big problem that I was so buried in one.
You couldn't even see that you were buried.
I couldn't see that I was buried, and I couldn't see that there was a
solution. Yeah.
And my network provided me a solution. So networks allow you to exchange ideas. You guys out there, especially you women, my kid's doing this and I need help. And what do you think? That's your network that you're reaching out to.
Absolutely. Or I have, my son's working at a gymnastics place, and someone's saying, oh, well, I'm trying to find an activity for my daughter to get her more in shape and get her more active, especially during the winter months. And then I'll mention something about, gymnastics, or that they have dance classes there. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. So again, it's really about connecting.
Yeah, I know. If you're in sales, one thing that a network can help you do, your network can help you build confidence. And if you're in sales, you're guilty of this. I know you're guilty of it. I know you know who I'm talking to. It's you. You have I gotta make 100 phone calls today, or 200 phone calls today. I'm going to call 3 of my friends. Well, at one point they weren't your friends. Somehow you brought these friends into your network, and they're kind of in your business. I sell oil. I'm going to call my buddy at the car place. I know he already buys my product, but it's going to.
If I may,
yes.
Sometimes you make that phone call just to get going on the phone call.
It builds your confidence.
It builds your confidence.
Exactly
You're
what it does. Your
okay,
network builds your confidence.
I can make that call now. I can call that lead. I can call that other person. You just need to sort of get the motor running.
We were just at an event. We were just at an event that had 10,500 people at it.
We didn't meet everybody.
No, but we probably know between 400 and 500 people at that event that we've met in the past. What do we do when we walk in there? We immediately start looking for the people we know. Hey, how's it been?
True.
What's going on? How you doing? Building confidence. Good to see you. How was your flight in? You start the small talk, and then hey, what are you looking for? What do you need? And you start, and then they start introducing you to other people at the event, and that's how you start building. Your network grows. You become more well known. You're in a better shape, better place.
Excuse me.
Any other reasons why to network?
Why to network? Raise your professional profile. If you're the person who's out on the floor and everybody knows you, you're a valuable person, because you're probably in a position to be able to connect you with whatever it is that you're looking for. I think of it as almost a librarian, right? You walk in and you're like, hey, I'm looking for this. Oh, I know who to connect with you with right away. Oh, that's a good person to know. So the more people that you have in your network, the more people you know, the more you're seen as either a leader in your industry or just somebody who's really great at connecting.
I'll go back. The most important reason to network, your why. Your network is your net worth. Repeat it.
Your network is your net worth.
That's it. So let's go on. Let's go to the next thing here.
So now that we're all into why we should network.
Yeah. So let's go into our next thing. Where and who to network with.
Where do you go to network? There are actually a lot of places that you can do networking.
Some of them you obviously know. Some you probably wouldn't think of, and you might be doing it subconsciously. You might be networking out there at places you didn't know were you consider networking. But what's some places we can network?
I personally like going to actual networking events.
Real world networking events.
Right.
Somebody advertises
business,
it. B2B networking.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's roll. Let's do this. I like doing it too. You meet people. You meet a variety of people. they're all there for the same reason. Some are trying to sell you really hard, and you get
It's
like dents in your
usually
head
either
at the end of the
a
day.
lunch or a breakfast meeting. I don't do those breakfast meetings so much, but I like a cocktail hour at late afternoon.
We ran some breakfast networking events.
Yeah.
Remember that? Breakfast bites.
Yeah, I remember that. It was great, except we had to get up really early.
Yeah, I remember that. So, hardcore networking events, we'll call them.
A long day.
Then industry events. So if you're in an industry, whatever it is, if you're what industry really works together? Real estate. Because real estate needs all the components of it. You have people who sell, you have people who buy, you have brokers, you have title, you have insurance, mortgage people. So you
find that there are a lot of real estate networking events that happen?
There have been a lot of real estate networking events in the past. It's just an industry that works really well together. They for the most part, some of them compete with each other, but most of them go. But
I get that.
In our industry, like the events industry, we've been to, I don't even know how many networking events this year, but probably 10.
A lot.
And everybody's doing something different. I mean, we're event organizers. There's hotels. There's CVBs. There's which is Convention and Visitor Bureaus. There's the DMCs.
Yes, they're all different acronyms in our industry, as there probably are in every industry. But it's great when we get an opportunity to get together, because then we can sort of talk shop.
Right.
Right. There's already an icebreaker. We already kind of know what each other does. So the next, the sort of the first question, you can dive in a little deeper. What part of the industry do you work in, or what are your goals?
You want a really pro tip here on
bring it.
Where to network?
Tell me.
If you're a plumber, a tree guy, an HVAC, go to a professional business networking event. You'll be the only one that does what you do in the room. You go to 4 of them a month in different sectors. You will tear it up. You'll find 15 people in the financial services, people at a regular financial services business selling at those events, or selling. See, that's what they try to do.
I would say too, and if you're in one of those businesses, to go to one of the networking events that's specific for real estate, because those folks love to help connect. Part of real estate, most of the brokers that I've met, part of their value is their network. So that when they're selling to somebody, they can say, hey, look, I've got a team of people who do all of the, services that you need for your new home. And that's a selling point when you're looking for somebody to. Or
the opposite side, when you have a home that's not where it should be, those real estate people will say, hey, I got a guy. That's a big thing in networking. I'm one of those guys that got a guy. I always got a guy.
Absolutely.
Call me.
And someone who can handle that lawn, someone who can handle that, weird noise that's coming out of the bathroom in the downstairs. And
I probably know 98% of anything you need done. I probably know somebody that does that.
There you go. And it's not because we know how to fix it. It's because we know how to network.
And we have a big network. It's because we have a big network. I mean,
I know somebody who would probably know somebody.
Yes.
Right. That's the other thing. You get everybody else's network. That's another thing. You get everybody else's network when you network.
Oh, absolutely.
So you are it's not even multiplying, as you had mentioned before. It's actually exponential.
And exponentially multiplying. Because there's people, if you're in a room, and let's just say you're in a room of 50 people and you talk to 12, they're automatically going to talk to at least the other half of the room for you and say, hey, I met Gus and Ashley. Have you met them? They do events. And they'll hear your name before they even meet you. So that's key.
That's good.
The ultimate goal is to walk into a room and you don't have to introduce yourself. That's the goal.
That's a nice goal.
So another place to network: association, clubs, chambers, alumni events. These are all amazing places. Bob, who you graduated high school with, and was somewhat of a lackluster student and jock. Now owns a chain.
Oh, you're so judgy.
Owns a chain of McDonald's stores and makes quite a bit of money. So you just never know where your alumni go in their world, and who they know and who they've met. You leave school and you go out into the world, and you create your own network, and your buddies have a network, and now your network's bigger.
Well, and for some people, the concept of networking sounds like something painful. Um, Doing some smaller group networking is a lot easier. So I always suggest folks start with their alma maters. Where'd you go to school? Do they have a networking group? Drexel University, where I went, has a global night of networking, or they have regular networking events. I love to go to them because I love to hear what everybody's up to. I also love to network, so that kind of works for me. But I also recommend it for folks who are nervous about learning to network, because you've got an immediate icebreaker. You already have something in common. You went to the same college. You can ask questions that relate to that college or that college experience, or whatever experience that is from any association, trade group, clubs, chambers, any of the, hey, I live at the corner of this and this. What's going on with the construction?
You have a shared interest. If you went to Penn State in the last 25 years, probably the last 50 years, the Rathskeller, the stadium. Where were you when this happened? What dorm did you stay in? What frat house have you been to? What sorority house have you been to?
So it's pretty easy to spark up a conversation when you already have that much in common.
Absolutely.
So if you're somebody who just hates the thought of networking, but you need to do a little bit more of it, that's a good place to start.
So another place, church, synagogues, religious places. Get to know the people there. It's
places of gathering.
Places of houses of worship, places of gathering.
Yes.
A great place, great networking.
You also put down sporting events.
Well, sporting events in multiple ways. You meet the people next to you. If you're going to, we live in Philadelphia. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who are doing very well right now.
I was going to say, this is a good time, sports-wise, to live in Philadelphia.
The people going to an Eagles game, it's not inexpensive to go to a game. They
either scored tickets or they had to pay for them.
Well, they had some sort of success in life
to be able to afford to go to the games. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the people next to you, the guy wearing green with the makeup on his face, there's good likelihood he does something important in life. We were talking earlier with our network. We were talking earlier with our group, and a woman was saying how her husband is a biker, and they're all scruffy, and they got these big bikes, and they go to a biker bar. And I actually used to do biker stuff, so I understand. He said, but they're all dressed in like ratty clothes and stuff like that. But she said they're also all lawyers and engineers and doctors and business owners. These guys are powerful people in their communities. They're good people to network with. They just happen to have a common interest of riding motorcycles that brings them together.
Getting bugs in your teeth, yes.
Yeah, getting bugs in your teeth, yeah, exactly.
So that's cool.
So going back to the sporting events, your kids' sporting events. If you're going to, with the kids, the other parents and stuff on a regular basis, you're sitting there in the stands, and little Johnny's missed the ball for a 15th time, and let's face it, it's not always exciting to see your kids playing sports, but it's nice. It's great to be there and meet the other parents. That's networking,
building community with the other folks who are there. It's always a good idea to and they're resources.
I know.
Right?
They
can see you as a resource. Yeah. That's what the networking is all about.
I know where my kids grew up and building that community. It led us to invite and be invited to other people's gatherings at their homes, and then you're meeting the people they know, and your network gets bigger. And of course, it's what do you do? What brings you to this town? How did you get here?
What's nice about it too, though, is that it's not necessarily all business related. You have the opportunity to break bread with people and learn what they do in life, and be able to cross-pollinate the conversation. One of the other things that came up in our meeting earlier today was that the networking, a great way to do it, especially since she's been doing it virtually and almost always on LinkedIn, is to find out, well, where did they go to college, or is there something about them on their profile that I can relate to on a personal level, so that I can have a conversation about that instead of driving right in for the business ask. So she looks to see what she can relate to personally.
Right. Now, this is one of my favorites.
Which one?
The bar.
I like it too.
Ashley and I, when we travel, literally, we were just in Vegas for a week. We had at least 20,
always sit at the bar.
we had at least 21 meals out, and probably 18 of them we sat at the bar, even breakfast and lunch. We don't day drink, but we sit at the bar and we meet people. Ashley has a very ambitious goal in her life, is to help 3.9 billion women in this world. She's not going to help those people by sitting in a corner booth and facing away and pretending to eat her own meal without wanting to be bothered by anybody else.
I need to meet as many people as I can so I can get on further in my mission.
Yeah, and if you're shy, I encourage you to try that with your other half, or with a friend, or a girlfriend, or an acquaintance. Go sit at the bar, chat up conversation with the bartender.
Remember your why. I think that helps too. If you're nervous and you just hate the thought of talking to other people, remember your mission. Remember what you're there to do. So and then we have some more tips around that.
Yeah, we have some more tips around that.
So yeah,
getting into one of the places we network, and this just happened. This just happened with you. You got a connection. Standing in line. You're standing in line. There's nothing going. You're waiting for whatever it is you're waiting for, and everybody's in the same boat. We had to. Last month we were at an event. We were at a beautiful charity event, and when it ended, there was a 20-minute line, if not longer, to get our car out of ballet.
So I started chatting with one of the ladies who was also standing in line, and ended up.
You shared a connection that you're both dealing with parents with Alzheimer's.
We discussed that we were both in a position of that, and I shared my business card with her, and I got a lovely note from her. And not only was her note lovely, she offered to help with my mission to help 3.9 billion women advance their careers and advance their lives. So if you're not putting it out there, it's not going to get anywhere. You need to talk to people. And it wasn't a forced conversation. We were all waiting for our cars. Yeah. We had another situation last week when we were at our event in Las Vegas. I was standing in line for a headshot to get a photo taken of myself, and the people who were in front of me were a couple, and we started chatting, and we made an immediate personal connection that the gentleman lived in St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis, so we were talking about St. Louis. You were talking with her about some other stuff while he and I were chatting. Next thing we knew, we're
texting me all night long. We're going back and forth.
Right.
Let's get together.
Business cards. It's such and so's birthday tomorrow night, so I have to. They were
going through some things that Ashley and I've been through. Some issues.
So we had the opportunity to offer some advice,
some guidance. They never thought of what our answer, like sort of what it was personal, but the solutions we had for them, they were like, oh, that's amazing. Like, didn't think of that. And
here we are standing in line, and we're in a position to help somebody else. That made us feel good. It made them feel good.
I'll put this out there. I guarantee whatever you're going through in your life right now, someone else has gone through it. If not hundreds of thousands or millions of people have faced the same situation. When you have a problem in your life, you just don't know what the answer is. And
you feel a little trapped, and you may feel a little embarrassed that you have the problem. But the second you put it out there and someone says, oh my gosh, that happened to me too. Here's what I did.
Yeah. And it's not, it might not be easy, but it's there. Now we'll touch on this a little bit. The almost entire social media world online is built on networking. LinkedIn is for business. Facebook is your friends and family. But how often you're reaching out or getting an idea or making a connection on any one of those channels? Pinterest gives you ideas for creative stuff. TikTok's the number one platform right now, and number one search platform right now. So anybody, our kids are using TikTok to learn how to cook. They use TikTok to learn how to,
which is a little frightening.
Well, it is for you.
Yes,
not for them. It's their world.
I meant the whole chicken and the NyQuil thing. But anyway.
Yeah, let's go look at the encyclopedias to see how to do something.
Okay.
to see how that works
Yeah,
out.
we don't do that anymore.
So the whole online world, we'll touch base on how to make that work for you also.
So I will say this right now, networking has not always been something I've considered easy for me to do. Sometimes you have that feeling of, well, what if somebody doesn't really want to talk to me? What if I don't have anything interesting to say? For some people, and I mean, even for me, at one point, networking sounded like work. But we have some ideas for you on, as I mentioned before, how to make it a little bit easier.
Let's talk a little bit about what the network for.
Okay, so
this is sort of kind of like why, but a little bit different. If you look at this,
your career is the natural place where you might think that you're going to start, your job. Finding a job, you can go through the classified ads or look for advertisements, but for real,
online.
This is like people, right? You need to know people, and the more people that you know, the more people that you'll know who work and are in the careers.
So here's a little secret from what I've seen. Companies have to post jobs sometimes as part of their
requirements.
Yeah,
like regulations or policies that they have
most
to
of
post
the jobs,
something, even if they already know who it's going to.
Most of the jobs that are posted or unfilled are very difficult positions to fill. Either they're not paying enough for what the job is, or people aren't qualified enough.
Well, I've heard that sometimes they have to post it to find out what the salary range is from the people who apply for the job, so that they know how to.
But let's go back. The jobs are being filled by the network, by your network, by their network, and those two networks somehow coming together. So the career, networking to advance your career or find a new position is obvious and key. Network for industry ideas. What's taking place? Again, we were in Vegas last week for an industry event. We went there looking for information for a future event of ours in Los Cabos.
Opened up a whole new set of possibilities for what we could do with our events. And if we hadn't come there and asked those questions and met with those people, we would feel far behind. So it was a huge win for us in terms of developing an idea to what will become a product very soon.
Here's an interesting one: networking for others. We actually, at an event, we ran into a friend of ours there who was mentoring another person,
yes.
a young executive, and she was learning the ropes of how to work a business floor, how to work a trade show. And it was she was doing a phenomenal job, but there was she was networking for someone else. She was helping someone else get where she needed to be. And we hear that all the time. We'll go to an event and one of our friends will. I say one of our friends, somebody in our network will ask, then we know they're looking for something, and we'll say, hey, we know somebody that needs that. I'm going to send them a message right now. So I'm going to text or an email right now and let them know this is taking place.
Even at our conferences, it happens where someone who's sitting in the conference room says, hey, we need help. We've got some open job positions. We've got some opportunities that we're really looking to bring into our organization, and they know that the group that's around them has probably the networks as well as the connections. I mean, they know people who do what they do,
right?
So it's a good place to ask for it.
Network for business solutions. We went to this event. I was looking for 3 specific things. I found information on 2 of them. I'm still trying to find information on the 3rd. But
I'll ask later.
What's that?
I'll ask you later.
Yeah, ask me later. I was looking for it anyway.
Okay.
Personal. Hey, where can I get my kid's hair cut? Where can
I find
an
attorney to handle my estate? I'm dealing with aging parents who need help and services in a different city. How do I
just went through that myself? My parents needed some help.
We had to ask a few questions.
I had to call my network who some of these people I don't talk to on a regular basis. I put a call out I actually put a message out on Facebook, and then I started dialing through my phone contacts on people that I wouldn't normally call. I said, "Hey, it's Gus. I need your help. You have expertise in this. What do you think? What should I do? What are my options?" And it made a really difficult situation way more manageable.
Yes. Which was great.
Yeah.
But even hyper local. I mean, and I'm not. We joke about Nextdoor as an app, but Nextdoor is an app that's specifically focused on hyper local networking and being able to network there and just say, hey, does anybody know somebody who does a good job with car repair, lawn services, handyman services, dry cleaning? I mean, it's the things that you use on a weekly, monthly basis and can get sort of a crowdsourced answer that's still part of your network.
Yeah, I got two things that my network brought me early on that I would have not known the opportunity was there. So first off, I had a friend. He was a business associate. He was also a friend. He belonged to a ski club. I didn't even know such things existed as ski clubs. I joined a ski club. There's 600 members that led me into ski racing. I was an avid skier for 12 years before that, but never known how to get into ski racing, where to start. And I was able to have a 5-year run as a amateur competitor, and it was a lot of fun. And then the other thing that happened to me early on in my career, I had a customer who was demanding. I'll put it that way. A very demanding customer. And I went to my network at my office and said, "Dudes, like this guy's asking for way too much." I was told by superiors that let's take care of the customer and give him what he wants, and it seemed completely unfair to me to do that. But I took care of this customer, and I took care of him for another 4 years. A couple of years later, after I left that company and I was starting my own business, that customer, that client, that person funded my business or gave me a big chunk of the financing I needed for my business. So you never know what your network will bring you. Kind of cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It is cool. All right.
So what else we got?
Let's get into some
the how.
Let's get into the hows. Let's get into some harder, like how to network.
We're going to give you some tips here. And again, if you already know how to network, we're probably just reviewing for you some ideas. But for those who really don't like it or think they don't like it, it's not as hard as you think. And we've got some tips for you. So for number one, in how to network, start with a goal and be clear.
To be successful at networking, start with a goal. Be clear. Know exactly what you want.
Think about the problems that you're having, and the things that you want to solve immediately. Just start putting that in your head. Think about it. Start saying it out loud. Don't ramble. But when you go to meet with somebody, you want to be able to be very clear on what you're looking for.
I'm looking for business owners who want to grow their business by 15% a year. That's a pretty significant goal. Do you know anyone? Who should I meet in the room?
I have a goal to help 3.9 billion women advance their careers and advance their lives. Who should I talk to in your company who wants to send a team to the Advance Conference?
Right.
That's something that I would say at a networking event now.
So another thing you should do at a networking event, dress properly.
Please.
I'll even go as far as say is be the best dressed person in the room.
Yes.
Last week when we were at the event we were at, and let's face it was a big networking event with 10,500 people at it. On the very first day, I wore a
beautiful jacket.
I wore a very nice sport coat and was looking pretty sharp. I must have had 50 people come up to me and introduce themselves because of what I was wearing. It makes things a little easier. It just makes they open up the.
Gus looked so sharp.
Anyway, they bring it into you, and I didn't anticipate that. I just got dressed in the morning.
Well, you know what I think it was partly too. It was a very different jacket. It had a very interesting pattern. So again, in a networking environment, it's easy to run up to you and say, "Hey, that's a cool jacket.
I made it easy
that's
for
the
them to
icebreaker.
talk.
Exactly.
I
really
was
easy for them. If you're dressed poorly, if you're dressed maybe not as nicely as you should be, your confidence level is going to be lower. So just go for it.
Think about the woman. Think about the woman who comes into the networking event dressed in high heels and a red dress, and there's no other red dresses in there.
All eyes on her, right?
Yes.
Be that woman or be that person who's dressing up. I'm going to bring my A game. I'm going to feel good about how I look. And in the process of that, I'm going to speak well about myself and what I represent.
All right. This is really important. Next
Okay.
one. Bring a way to leave your contact information. Traditionally, it's been business cards, but as we move forward in this more digital world, business cards are becoming rarer and rarer. And now we use a phone. I'm just going to show you a little trick.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. I learned this after Ashley did.
So I was at this event that we went to, and actually one of the speakers showed me how to do this.
This is where the digital world meets the in-person world. While you're in person, this is a digital tool you can use.
I personally am really into LinkedIn. I have a lot of contacts there. I love the platform. And I also love to bring business cards with me. I just find it easier to hand it to somebody, gives them the opportunity to write a little note on the back of it. I like to get business cards, but in the case that you can't, if you have LinkedIn on your phone, this is just LinkedIn regular homepage, brought it up. If you go to the search bar at the top and just tap on it, excuse me, I have to do this. I have to tap on it. It then comes up with a little QR code.
Show that QR code. Get close.
Well, you can't. Okay, so at the end of the search bar now is something for me to tap on. And once I do, let's see if I can do this without having to. Yeah, I have to look at it. Sorry, guys. I'm sort of shocked. I don't need.
There it is.
Okay, and up pops up
Put that all the way up to that phone. There you go.
QR code. That is, if somebody is to take a picture of that or get the picture of that, I'll take them right to my LinkedIn profile and they can connect with me there. So this is a little tip.
A game changer.
Highly recommend.
Game changer.
You can take a snapshot of this, a screenshot of that, and have that handy and ready when you're out and about and meeting people. And that way they can connect with you directly on LinkedIn.
You know what else that can be?
Tell me.
That can be an icebreaker for you at a networking event.
Hey, let me show you how to do this really great way to connect.
Or hey, you want to see something cool I found?
Yes.
Check this out on LinkedIn. Are you on LinkedIn?
Right.
Let's share contact information.
And it was one of the presenters at the conference who said, because I said, I know there's some way to do this and bring in my QR code, but I either didn't remember how or something. Anyway, you can take a screenshot and then it can be on your lock screen. You can have it for the whole event, or you can be the one who's running around showing up how to do that. So there's a little tip.
All right, here's a really simple and good tip. Smile.
Yes.
Just smile.
Smile is
all
good.
time. People like friendly, happy, smiling people.
I don't like walking up to people who look angry. I like walking up to people who look friendly. So smile.
Make eye contact. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You have beautiful eyes.
Anyway, smile, make eye contact. If you're new to networking or you're shy, there's a lot of shy people. Find a buddy.
I was gonna say, you know what I do?
You're not shy though.
No, but I'll find.
You're new sometimes.
I'll find somebody who is shy, and I'll say, "Do you want me to go around? Let me go around and help introduce you to the
first." You say, "Hi, I'm Ashley."
Well, that's what I say first. Yes, but at least that way, I now have a new purpose, right? I'm showing this other person how, like I'm helping them connect with the people who are there. They're loving it because then they don't have to do that initial contact, and it's easier for them.
Yeah,
and it's more fun.
I also recommend if you're going to a networking event, a formal networking event, and you are shy, talk to the people at the front desk. Tell them, hey, I don't know anybody here.
Or this is my first
time. You have somebody here that can help me, show me around. I guarantee you They'll either grab the most outgoing networking person in the room,
most connected,
or the most connected
Yes.
person in the room, and basically put your hand in their hand and go, hey, let's meet this person. Come, Bob here needs to meet someone. Great. Bob's new in his company. His company forced him to come.
Yes.
And Bob's going. But
Yeah.
by the end of the night, Bob knows everybody in the room, and he's a good guy.
And you're walking out.
I'm here next month. Here I come.
Absolutely.
When's the next one of these things happening? I want to be there.
Right.
So
another note that I'm going to just mention here: if you're going to a networking event, don't expect to do business with people that night.
That's not the goal.
Networking is not about like sealing the deal and closing business. Networking is about meeting people. It's almost like a speed dating, quick 5 minutes. I'm here to meet people. I'm here to meet people because I want to get to know them. I want to get to be able to help them, and hopes that they will remember me for the time that they meet somebody in their network. It's not about, I'm going to spend the entire hour talking to this one person who I just met. This is great. And then you get to the end of the networking event, you're like, I didn't meet anybody else. No. This is quick. If it's specifically a networking event, this is meant for meeting people, mingling, short amount of time. And if there's follow-up, absolutely take the time to follow up after the event.
Networking is like being an old school farmer. You sort of got to,
planting seeds.
Well, you got to build the foundation. You got to plant the seed.
Get the soil ready.
You have to get the soil ready. You got to water it. You got to take care of it. So I actually had a situation. I won't call it a situation. I had experience a week before we went to the event last week. Somebody in my network in LinkedIn that reached out to me. Said, hey, let's have a meeting. Can we schedule a Zoom meeting just to see if we can help each other a little bit? Now, I was like, I rarely do this because we tend to be super busy. We're especially in event season. This is event season for us. We tend to be super busy. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do this. I scheduled a meeting, and then I realized I scheduled it exactly when we were scheduled to be on TV for another event. And I was like, oops. So I reached out to this woman and I said, hey, I'm so sorry. Can we reschedule for a week later? And she's like, no, we're going to schedule it for a week and a day later. So we scheduled it for a week and a day later.
Which was today.
And we got on the call today, and she said immediately, she said, hey, I don't want to sell anything to you, and I don't want to buy anything from you. Can we just talk? And this is a start of planting the seed. Actually, the seed was planted it 4 months ago when we became connections on LinkedIn. And then we're moving forward. And what I thought she did and what she thought I did and what we can do for each other was completely opposite. And it's pretty cool because now I have a connection in a new network, in a new market, in a new industry that when I need to move there, I make a move in that market. I have a friend there that can help. I mean, I will consider her after a half hour on the Zoom call today, a good connection, a good networking contact for the future. Yeah.
That is awesome. That's what it's all about.
All right. So next one.
What do we got?
Work the crowd.
Yes.
Don't stay with who you came with all night because you're probably leaving with them and you're probably gonna do something at the networking event. Work the room, work the crowd, press the flesh with as many people as you can.
So when I would go to networking events before I met you, with a friend, we would both kind of commit, like almost like a game. Like, okay, I'm walking out of here with 20 business cards of people I've never met before we leave to go to dinner. And that's what we would, so it kept us accountable. It kept us moving around. It kept us engaged in what we were doing. And after a while, you sort of forgot that it was a game and you were actually networking and connecting with people. So if you need that little push or you need a little something, just make sure you remember you're there to work the crowd, not necessarily to spend all night with your buddy.
Yeah. Next, be friendly. It's like smiling.
That's nice.
Be
friendly. Nobody wants to come up to somebody at a networking event who looks like they're having a big problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or angry or grouchy. I
don't
want to hear it. I got enough grouchy stuff in my life.
Couple pro tips. I'll give you three pro tips here.
Ooh.
Number one, wear your name badge on your right side. When
So
you reach out
to
shake a
the
hand, you're looking at the person's
There's-
name badge right here.
Yes, you're looking at theirs, they're looking at yours.
Try
to remember their name too. Like say, "Oh, it is such a pleasure to meet you, Gus."
I have a problem with that.
We both have a problem with that, but I find that if I repeat it, it's easier for me to remember. Because a lot of people are like, "I don't want to go to a networking event because I can't remember anybody's name." Don't worry about it. Nobody's that. I mean, some people are really good at it. Most of us are.
I'm getting way better at it.
You are getting way better because you're being more intentional about it.
Right.
I know.
Next one. This came up in our workshop earlier today. Ashley asked me, how do you know to approach someone, or if there's a couple people talking, how do you know if I can approach them, or how do you know when to approach them?
Right, because I don't want to bust in on somebody else having a conversation, but at the same time, token, I might be really eager to meet somebody, or somebody may have said, "Hey, you need to go meet Sally." Okay, I'm sort of standing in line waiting to meet Sally, but I don't want to interrupt, but I kind of want to interrupt. Like, what do I do?
So what you do is, let's just say there's three people standing there. If they're standing there and their feet are parallel to each other, facing all three of them like a perfect triangle or tripod into each other, they're involved in a conversation. They're not looking for anyone outside that conversation. If their feet are slightly turned out or open, or their shoulders are open, they're open to other people joining them in that conversation. It's a loose conversation. The same thing with sitting, because the question in the workshop came up, what if someone's sitting? Well, we're sitting here in an open position, and if somebody walked up to us and we're at a networking event and they said, "Hey, can we join you? Can we talk?" Hey, I'm Gus. I would actually stand up immediately. "Hey, I'm Gus. Nice to meet you. Great to meet you. This is Ashley."
We did that a couple of times last week too.
But if they're turned in and their feet are crossed, or they have their legs crossed and they're turned towards each other, they're looking at each other,
and they're having a conversation.
They're having a private conversation. It's
probably not.
And it's best to respect that private conversation and not barge in on that conversation.
I like that one.
Last,
so it's about
another of these three tips, which is FORM, FORM. It's a great icebreaker. Family, occupation, recreation, money. They are three topics that you can open up a conversation with. Hey, I'm Gus. Nice to meet you. Family. Do you have any children? You know, do you have a spouse? That people like to talk about their family. Occupation. Hey, how did you get the role you have right now? Do you enjoy your role? What are you planning on doing? What's your next step within the organization or outside the organization? You know, recreation. Hey, I like to say, what are you doing? What do you like to do when you're not 9 to 5? And what do you like to do when you're not doing this thing all the time, right?
Absolutely.
And then money. You know, wow, gas prices have really increased. Or, you know, my favorite question I like to ask people to find out what they're really made of. What would you do if you came into sudden wealth? And I mean real wealth. $500 million. You have $500 million. What's your purpose in life? What do you do? Everybody answers the same thing. And then I talk them.
They said they're going to travel.
I'm going to travel. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to donate to charity. Great. That's awesome. You're going to get tired of both of those things real quickly. Then what are you going to do? And they take a while to think about, you know, hey, I want to save animals. I want to, you know, I want to climb Everest. I want to do whatever it is. I mean, that's your true purpose in life. And I encourage you to get on it right now, today, and start doing that. So I actually went from telling you, giving you a little bit, going a little bit to coaching mode here, but giving you the tool. It's FORM, FORM.
It's a great way to just remember some icebreakers and some things to talk about when you're at a networking event, when sometimes it's not obvious.
So this next one goes hand in hand with with work in the crowd.
Yeah. Don't suck up somebody's night.
Yeah, we've all seen it happen. One person starts talking and
they just don't stop. And so if you're the person who's coming into a networking situation and you find somebody and you start chatting with them, remember, again, this is an opportunity to mingle. This is like a speed date. You really want to limit the number or the amount of time you spend talking to each person, because the goal for the event is to meet the other people who are at the event. If you are in a position where somebody has sort of glommed onto you and you realize, oh my gosh, this person's very interesting, but my goal is to meet everybody else in the room, but this person's not letting me go.
Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. Excuse me.
That's a good one.
I need to get another drink. Excuse me. If there's someone that I need to talk to this person, I've been waiting to talk to them all night.
And sometimes we've had people who have turned to us and said, help me. This person won't stop talking to me and I can't get rid of them.
And we probably had people say that about us. And I apologize to them. I've made a lot of mistakes networking over the years.
Forgive me. I thought you
sorry.
were so interesting. But yeah, at the same token, if you're looking for comfort in a position where you're at a networking event, it's just like, okay, you know what? I just need to just stop this conversation now and restart it with somebody else. And that's all good.
So if you're more comfortable speaking with people, here's the next tip.
Yes.
Ask questions. That's a killer. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. Actually, what can I do for you?
What's your goal?
What's your goal?
What's your big goal? Like, what are you trying to make happen in your life and your business? I ask that question a lot because it helps me understand what they really want to make happen. Not just, I have a position I'm trying to fill. Okay, but what are you trying to make happen for your business? Because I may have bigger ideas or other people that I can connect with them with on a higher level.
Another great question is a two-part question. Who's your ideal customer? Who's your ideal client? Who's your ideal business partner? And who can I introduce you to? Who would you like to meet in a room? Who in the room do you think you'd like to meet? And then, if you're networking, this is, I'm a seasoned professional. I'll talk to a hole in the wall. I no longer have any anxiety about meeting people or talking about it. And I don't care what their rank is or who they are, or how high up the chain they are. But I'll go to someone blindly with someone I just met and like, hey, Joanne, this is Steve, and Steve is really interested in what you do. Can I introduce the two of you?
Absolutely.
And you look like a rock star. And Joanne, if I know her or don't know her, I just elevated my position because I brought her someone.
Right.
But the asking question things are really important.
It's huge.
Another thing, act professional all the time.
Yes. Don't drink too much at the cocktail hour.
If you do drink too much, take your name badge off. Don't misrepresent the company.
I like that one.
We used to do that back in the day where we had
stick it on somebody else.
Yeah, at one point, I came through the .com era, the first .com era. We had to go to 3 networking. Actually, we had to go to 3 business networking events a week. We had to do 3 breakfasts and 3 lunches in addition to the 3 business networking events.
That's a lot.
We were like 9 events a
week
just to get the word out there and the name out there.
In the understanding of acting professionally, obviously you want to be friendly, but you also want to make sure that you're watching your reputation. Because if you start developing a reputation for being the person who does not act professionally at networking events, you're not doing yourself any favors, and you're making yourself look bad. You're making your employer look bad.
Or your company look bad if you're the employer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that too.
This is a power. These last 2.
Can I bring up one?
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of them you mentioned on here. Follow up.
I was good. Okay. That last anyway.
Oh, whoops. Okay, never mind. Say the other one first.
Aren't we cute?
Aren't we?
Follow up.
Okay.
All right. We can go really deep into this follow up. There's a lot of ways to follow up. But anyway, this is a power. This is a total power move, and Ashley and I've gotten really good at it. Meet the speaker. If there's someone who's speaking,
we can't help ourselves.
Go up and introduce yourself after the event. We were just at an event, and there was a celebrity speaker, someone who's been on Shark Tank, been on some other well-known TV, and she even mentioned right away.
Can we just note?
Right.
We met her in the elevator.
Oh, you're right.
The night before.
We met her in the elevator the night before.
So here's a great example of networking. She was coming down the elevator and she was dressed to the nines. And I could not keep myself from saying, you look spectacular.
She was going to an event we weren't invited to.
She was going to an event.
Actually trying to get in. And
so as we were walking, part of that Las Vegas long hallway walk, we were both sort of headed in the same direction. And she mentioned that she lived in Brooklyn. And then she mentioned that she was brought up in St. Louis, my hometown. So we started talking St. Louis. And then I connected with her on LinkedIn. She mentioned that she was going to be speaking at the conference, and I reached out and said, "Where are you speaking? I want to see you speak." And she mentioned where, and we got ourselves in that spot that next morning to be there for her presentation.
And she early on in the presentation said, "As soon as this is over, I need to get on a flight. I have to fly to LA." So we wanted to get a picture with her, and we didn't hog her time. We respected her time and literally positioned Ashley in a way that, hey, can you quickly turn around and let's get a picture? And we literally took 8 seconds of her time and click, got a couple pictures. And it's just something to remember. We will do business with this person in the future. It's again, building the network, sowing the seed, being the farmer out there, making it work.
But that's it. I mean, that's a perfect example of how we weren't looking for opportunities to network. We were on the elevator and she was dressed beautifully.
Yeah, but we always network. So.
I know we can't help ourselves, but no, I mean, it was just terrific. So then that segue into.
It leads into real quick. Another thing, respect the other person and what they say. If you don't, hey, I don't have time, especially if you're a pushy salesman. I don't have time. I don't have time. Respect that other person and their time. And I believe that was a total respect mood.
Because later you will follow up.
Oh, there's so many ways to follow up. I love follow up. The money is in the follow up.
It's absolutely in the follow up. But the first thing is that you can bring back that conversation. Hey, it was, and this is a direct message in LinkedIn. This is a written note.
Note is
it's
game changer.
If you've got their address, just freaking
I don't do it. My handwriting is terrible. Ashley does it all the time.
I do it frequently, but if I'm in a hurry, I'll DM on LinkedIn and just say I had it. It was a pleasure meeting you. I look forward to doing business with you.
Wrap something in. Yes. Hello.
Your buddy from St. Louis.
Yeah, hello, Karen. Isn't it cool that we both grew up in St. Louis?
Yeah, it was great to be at your session when you spoke about XYZ.
You have a super exciting business. I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, how can I help you?
That's the last thing.
How can I help you?
How can I help you?
What are you working on right now that I can help you with?
What can I do for you? Who can I introduce you to?
And I may have no way of actually being able to connect with the people that they need to connect with. But I might know somebody who has some foot in somewhere connecting in the whole map of weave of connections.
And if you want to go one step further, send them an email, send them a direct message, send them an email, or send them a direct message on one of the platforms. If you have their cell phone, then text them. Hey, I just sent you an email. Great to meet you last night. That's a pro move.
A lovely touch.
And don't abuse it.
Yes. Don't keep sending them tons of texts. But definitely reach out to them and just say, hey, it was great to meet you. And, I look forward to catching up with you later. Awesome. Now you're in their phone.
Yeah. There's just so much that you can do on that follow-up. The direct texting, the direct messaging, the emailing, even if you're the crowd that's using Instagram now as your primary tool, same thing. Send them a direct message on Instagram. We want to go even further. Here's even a killer, more killer.
What?
The most impressive thing you do.
Tell me.
Send them a video message.
Ooh, right.
Hey, Ashley, it was awesome to meet you last night. So cool you're from St. Louis. I can't wait to do some business with you. I can't wait for us to find a way to work together in the future.
That sounds like fun.
That's a killer.
It is. And it stands out. Basically, you're doing something that doesn't take much time. It doesn't take any money. But you're doing something special and it's just for them, right? So it's almost the less time than it would take to write a note. They get a personalized message on their phone from you. With
that follow-up,
yeah.
I'm not as good as I should be at it. But when you get done a meeting, send them a text message right away or send them a video message right away. Hey, Steve, man, it was great.
I'm excited about the opportunities we have to work with each other. Let's do something, or let's get on that thing, or don't forget about this, or
your competition is not doing that.
Exactly.
I guarantee you.
So this is all about standing out, and your competition's probably not doing as much networking as you have the opportunity to. Take the opportunity to go to networking events, to introduce yourselves to people, and it's a muscle. The more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be doing it, and you'll get better at it to the point where you can help other folks do it too. And that's a skill.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty comprehensive on networking.
I think so.
If you have any questions, drop them below. Yeah, put them in the chat.
Put 'em in the chat.
We'll answer what we can.
Reach out.
Thank you for spending this lovely Tuesday evening with us, and we'll see you soon.
We hope we've given you some valuable advice. And we'll see you